And we're live. Welcome to this stream of me adjusting the webcam and not really doing anything that's of any value. Alright, what exactly am I looking at with this on these screens? Just make sure that I'm not in any voice channels in my Discord, because that would be a little bit embarrassing. I would move the mic out of the way there so I'm not blowing into it. Resume. Spaceway. So in the last stream, no one saw me. God's sake, no one saw me launching a load of rockets to the wrong altitude and then failing to test the parachutes. I'll collect the whatever it's called, the SRB test contract shortly after I've done this. For this test, what I'm going to do is something to shed weight. I'm going to do this, place a fuel tank, small fuel tank, underneath my decoupler, and on the same stage, use the well, it's going to be the Reliance, isn't it? One of those. So it's a small capsule, and then our payload. No, it's not a payload, is it? It's a... what is it? An aero piece? Nope. Oh, I've forgotten what this is. It's one of these, isn't it? There we go. Mark 16 parachutes. So we'll do this. This should be well enough to keep me within the ranges that within the parameters that I need to meet to get that parachute test reward. X, or is it Z? There we are. That's well enough speed. And herein lies my problem. I don't really seem to have calculated that too well. Or maybe it would have been perfect, I don't know. So we'll keep it there. And there we are. That's our test. Probably should have done something about that there because it's not going to get recovered. And with this, we just ease our way back to Earth at way too much altitude. It's one of those weird things that I've noticed about the physics in Kerbal Space Program is that they tend to become more extreme when you fast forwarded your simulation. Does that apply to drag as well? No. That's good. So there we go. We'll bring that easily down to the landing platform and then recover it. And now we can acknowledge that we have done a little bit more science. And now it's going to come to the point where I do need to remember how to recover a spacecraft. I always forget, it's such a shit thing. Okay. There was no. Oh, I know the map, was it? No, it wasn't. This is pretty terrible. I'm just gonna do it the long way. Go to the tracking station. And take this. Recover it. So there we go. We've got data, some funds, all the rest of that. Right now, over to is it mission control? Let's see, active, archives. Oh, do you collect them immediately? Would you look at that? Alright, what else have we got? RT10 SRB. Yes. We want an orbit, but I also want to kind of... you know what I mean? The radial decoupler. I don't even know where I've got that. No, it must be if that's available. Let's see, what's our altitude of 57,000, speed, very wide range, yes. And the RVT-45, which isn't available. Shit. Okay. Back to the VAB. Oh, where are our contracts? Or do I have to just remember them? Okay, the hammer. That goes. And in its place are RT10. On top of another RT10. Not the thumper. There we go. And to make sure that it flies straight, our basic fins, and we will fly with 4 of those. So the good thing about this flight is don't really have to pay way too much attention to the additional science that we're doing, because it just doesn't really seem to be worth our time while we're doing this. Stage 1. Oh bollocks, I've staged it wrong. Yeah, trust me to fuck this up. So that is stage 1, stage 2, and then we're gonna add another one into there, and then place the decoupler there. There we are. And then we go. I do at least hope that this brings me to the correct height, because anything different from that would be rather disappointing. We got enough speed beyond us anyway. Let me do this. This is likely to be much less stable, but thankfully it remains like a bullet. I don't know whether this is I'm just supposed to trigger this as soon as I get into the target altitude, or I just leave it at that. I might need a little bit of a bigger SRB. Let's see. So we'll get rid of this and then replace it with the big boy, the Thumper. And then place our aerodynamics on the base of that. We're going to go with the same healthy ass number of 4. I think you can kind of toggle these displays of what's this center of mass is right in the middle there, as you'd expect. Center of thrust is nearer the bottom. And if I remember correctly, the correct procedure with creating a rocket is that you need the center of drag to be behind the center of thrust. Under those conditions, what you end up with is a more stable rocket rather than one that will just go upside down within the space of 2 meters. So same stages as before. Stage 3 is our launch, and stage 2 is decouple into the hammer. And then the parachute comes last. Oh my god, this thing is not gonna land. Definitely it is not going to land. I think if this approach fails, I'm going to launch with a liquid booster, so I have a lot more control over my speed and make sure, or then so I can make sure that I can avoid burning up or overshooting my altitude. Looks promising so far. We're picking up speed now. Where are we supposed to be? 50. Yep, 50,000. Or 57,000 meters before I trigger the hammer SRB. What this will do is ensure that I am able to cover both items at once, and I'll be in my targeted range of speeds. I think we're gonna make it. If not, I've got one dirty trick, and that will be to overload slightly on the fins. Are they overheating? Okay, we're reaching our range. We're still within the range of speeds. Now we just need to sustain it. Oh, fewer fins, one less. Cancel that. A lot of trial and error goes into this game. So we'll do one less, and what this should do is retain a center of drag that is lower than the center of thrust, and so we still have a stable flight. And then therefore, we'll be able to just eke out that final 10-20 meters per second when it comes into the target range of altitudes. Let's try that out while I drink. So yeah, just as expected, the center of thrust remains below the remains above the center of drag, and so it remains stable. We'll be able to just get that slight little bit more peak speed, and then off the back of that we'll be able to sustain ourselves into the hammers range of parameters for testing. It's such a long wait when we get to these speeds, though. We're just watching the planet drift away as we take ourselves further and further into the abyss. I think if I was a bit clever, I would probably have taken a liquid booster up above the RT10's stage, so I could kind of push myself back into, if not a geostatic orbit, at least orbit that's close enough to Kerbin to elicit a controlled descent into the atmosphere so that the parachute works. Are we within the target? No, we fell out of range again. Let's see, I think I've got one final trick that is worth giving a go. And I'm actually going to put some SRBs in there to sort of drag it up. A couple of fleas. Two of them. Oh, I've just minimized my window for my display. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach them to the top stage via the two radial decouplers. Have I just spotted an issue with what I was doing? Yeah, I'm not supposed to have done that with the flat decoupler. I was supposed to have done it with the radials. Is that another decoupler on there? Oh, of course, yeah, yeah. So, place these on. These will sort of jab me up into orbit and then they'll stay there. Make sure that these are, let's see, stage 2. We'll bring the decoupler into stage 2 and the two fleas into the same stage as the hammer, the thumper. And so we're getting the benefit and we'll be able to test the decouplers. And then the next stage is probably going to be a liquid booster. Very, very expensive test this. But from what I've noticed, I am earning money a lot faster than I'm spending it, so maybe there is a little bit of room for overhead there. To add to the dramatic effect, I'm gonna place the mic right next to my mouth, so I don't have to talk as loudly. Stage 1, or Stage 2, depending on what your persuasion is. So there we go, we all hit 300 meters per second, and that's a great head start for the Thumper. And now, by all accounts, we should be within the range. I don't know how the drag from the other SRBs is gonna bear on this, but I do believe. Let's go into prograde mode. I do believe that this is going to sustain me. This is another one of those sciences, I'd say. Thrust to mass ratio. It's alright giving yourself a head start at first, but they will slow you down further into the flight. Is there anything else that I can do to improve on the situation apart from watch this? This is genius. Add 6 of them to the top. Drag racing. It's too heavy. Oh, okay. Well, alright, well. No, that was 8. This is 6. One more. And I was doing with 4 of those. This is actually a little bit more finicky than I thought it'd be. The maximum of these that we can do then is 3. Killjoy. Honestly, when I look at this, I don't think that it's worth it because the thrust to mass ratio is still not the best. I think it's worse than if I'd have just left the Thumper alone. If I want to be really cheeky, what I would do is trigger the decouplers without anything attached to them. That's the problem, you see. Way too much drag. Oh, this is easy then. Yoink. And so, what we have is an improved thrust to mass ratio and improved drag. We'll be able to get right up into that range. And then the result of that should end up being that I fulfill both of these, and all I'll need to do is use a liquid booster in my third stage to control my orbit. That should save me some money in the long run. Some, not all. Might be a net cost. All I know is that I don't want to be costing myself Kerbals because that's a little bit expensive. So yeah, you can see the advantage right away from doing that is I've brought myself a little bit more range there because we're out of the atmosphere. The cooling has declined a little bit on that Thumper. The doubt right now is that I probably won't reach the target altitude at the target range of speeds. It's a little bit too precise, actually. That's the main thing that I'm considering there. Let's see. Middle of the range, bottom of the range, out of range. Bit of a shame, really. Oh, housemates. So as it turns out, I haven't really done anything in either case. Shame. Because look at that motherfucker go. Wow, man. Look at that, and the G-force is only rising. I think if I were to, what is it, want to go normal? Oh no, it should have been anti-normal. So we turn a corner, and I was just floating off into nowhere. Because there is no atmosphere. It's cold outside. Right. I think to some extent there is going to need to be a little bit of a rethink done to this. I could be cheeky and tack a single flea to the base of this, or a hammer. See if this works. We'll put another coupler down there, and hopefully the hammer's not going to send us off course. If anything, actually, I could probably afford to do a ridiculously draggy mounting of these. Powered by prayers now. That's ours. Hair's full of knots. I've not brushed it yet. I feel grubby and gross. Contract and contact. I've not staged this properly. Let's do this again. This stage goes with that stage, and then this stage goes with the other one. Launch. Enable the RTS, or the RCS. Then for extra measure, just prograde the SAS. And then all we have to do is just look at this and wait. So it's not been too beneficial. We've given ourselves a head start of 95 meters per second. And the SAS isn't doing anything because I don't think that those fins are control surfaces, they're just stabilizers. And as a result, I don't think still we're going to make it to the target altitude in the correct range of speeds. That's a little bit of a catastrophe. And I don't want to play around with more decouplers and any of that either, because that's just a bit of a waste. Near enough a kilometer per second. Diagonal, so we're not actually making as much headway into the upper atmospheres as we could be doing. Oh, look at that, that's shite. It's just the silence of space. So now we're in orbit. We'll notice that the SAS has a little bit more control over the orientation of my ship now. Still out of range of the speeds. This is actually looking hopeful. By which I mean hopeless. Does that speed apply only under thrust or something? Might well do. That's a bit of a worry. Okay, first couple met. All we need is a good 1,000 more meters and then we'll have done it. There we are. Done. No, it's not that, is it? It's prograde. Normal? Yeah, there we go. And now the essence of this is to just control an orbit, so we've got essentially speed that goes in different directions. Top it off by releasing just the capsule. What should happen is that we retard quite a lot more speed than if we were just going straight up. It's a solid arc, we'll just sort of fast forward it a little bit more. There we are. So we've surpassed the apex and we're dropping. As soon as we touch that atmosphere, we're still going a little bit hot, but I don't think that this is going to burn the capsule up. So we'll see an awful lot of red, those trails. But then it should be nice and serene as drops into the sea go. Still waiting for that. Where does the atmosphere start? I think it's about, what, 50k, is it? There we are, we're back into contact with Kerbal. Speeding up. I think as soon as we pass that kilometer per second mark, things are going to get to be a little bit of a challenge. What I rely on right now is that I'm not actually flying a craft that is massive enough to sustain as much speed as is needed to burn up. As soon as we hit the atmosphere, what we'll end up doing is losing huge amounts of speed. And so that warming air will turn into cooling air, in theory. There we are, now we're warming up. Oh my god, that is not a good sight. I think we're going to burn up and die. Okay, there's the speed retardation. We've not burned up. Oh, I think we can afford quite a lot more speed there. What my only concern is with what I've just done is I think that I attached the decouplers to the wrong part of the craft. Oh, hang on. And while I spread my wings in Kerbal, I gained some wings from the Chinese and pour them all over the keyboard. Parachute. I'll hold the wing up for this one. No, of course, it's going to take me down to sea safely. Well, I still like this because the what is it? The SAS is pointed in the wrong position. Yeah, there we are. So I think what's going to happen after this landing is we're going to have a little bit of a break and return. These chicken wings are good. Splashdown. It's been alright, that has.